The bold man who fell. You know, Peter has always fascinated me. He was the bold one, right? The man who stepped out of the boat and actually walked on water. The one who swore to Jesus, even if everyone else leaves you, I never will. That's Peter, strong, loud, confident. But here's the thing about life, sometimes the boldest among us are the quickest to break. Under pressure, Peter denied even knowing Jesus. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And every time I read that, I ask myself, how many times have I done the same? Not with words maybe, but in my silence. In those moments I kept quiet when I should have spoken. In the times I compromised to fit in, when I knew God was calling me to stand out. Fear makes us smaller than we really are. And when the rooster crowed, Peter realized he wasn't as strong as he thought. Isn't that the hardest part? When your self-image shatters and you see your weakness in the mirror. So, let me ask you, what do you do when your boldest faith turns into your deepest failure? The weight of shame. After the denial came the shame. Scripture says Peter went out and wept bitterly. Not a few tears, no, this was a breaking from the inside out. And I wonder, how heavy did his heart feel that night? How many voices of guilt screamed in his mind? Shame is a cruel companion. It doesn't just remind you of what you did, it convinces you that you are what you did. And I think about us today, how many of us still live under that same weight? You pray, but the voice whispers, you're not worthy. You serve, but shame taunts, you're a fraud. Shame isolates us. It pushes us into hiding, convinces us that God is tired of forgiving us. And that's exactly where Peter was. Alone, defeated, certain his story was finished. But the enemy always overplays his hand, doesn't he? Because the very place Peter thought his life ended was the place God was about to begin something new. Tell me, are you still letting yesterday's failure dictate who you are today? Please hit the like button so you don't lose this message. The God who restores. Here's what blows my mind. After the resurrection, Jesus didn't avoid Peter. He went looking for him. Isn't that amazing? The man who denied him was the man he pursued. By the fire, Jesus asked Peter 3 questions. Do you love me? 1 for each denial. That wasn't random, that was restoration. Jesus wasn't rubbing salt in his wounds, he was rewriting the script. Think about that for a second. Every, I don't know him, was replaced with, yes, Lord, you know I love you. And with every answer, Peter's shame was undone. The denier was being renamed a shepherd. That's the heart of God. He doesn't just forgive, he restores. He doesn't just erase your past. He gives your past a new purpose. Do you really believe that God can still use you, even after your worst mistake? The fire of transformation. Something changed in Peter after that encounter. This was no longer the man who trembled before a servant girl. This was the man who stood before thousands, boldly declaring Jesus as Lord. What happened? The Spirit happened. At Pentecost, fire fell. Fear broke. Power entered. The denier became a preacher. The coward became a rock. And that's what gives me hope, because transformation doesn't come from willpower. It comes from God's power. The same Spirit that turned Peter into a pillar is the same Spirit available to you today. You don't have to stay in the cycle. You don't have to be defined by what broke you. When the Spirit breathes on you, caves become pulpits, and fear becomes fire. So let me ask you, what would your life look like if fear no longer controlled you? Your turn to rise. Peter's story isn't just history. It's prophecy for us. If God restored him, he can restore you. If God used him, he can use you. Your failure isn't final. Your shame isn't the end. The rooster's crow doesn't get the last word, the cross does. The Spirit does. Peter's story isn't just history. It's prophecy for us. If God restored him, he can restore you. If God used him, he can use you. Your failure isn't final. Your shame isn't the end. The rooster's crow doesn't get the last word, the cross does. The Spirit does. I know what regret feels like. I know what shame whispers. But I also know this. Your story is still being written. God hasn't turned the final page. So rise, stand, believe again, speak again, because your testimony is waiting to be heard. Your life still has a purpose. Your denial can become destiny. Your shame can become strength. Will you stay in regret, or will you rise into the purpose God still has for you?